party. A short while later, Jess had finished packing and glanced up at the television when a familiar face flashed across the screen. Grabbing the remote, he increased the volume to hear what the reporter was saying. A week after illicit photos popped up on social media, actor Kemp Pearson and actress Maya Rhodey still refused to comment. It seems they really got into their roles while in New Zealand filming the movie Midnight Heat. Apparently they had their own midnight heat going on in spite of Kemp's serious relationship with actress Paige Novak. Ms. Novak, who just wrapped up filming in Japan, was unavailable for comment. In fact, nobody knows her whereabouts. Jess flipped off the television and shook his head. If the allegations against Kemp Pearson were true, then the man was an asshole. No one deserved that type of betrayal. Jess, of all people, should know. Thanks to Ava Sampson, he'd experienced a similar betrayal 10 years ago, and he wouldn't wish that sort of heartbreak on his worst enemy. It just so happened that Paige Novak was the sister of Pam Westmoreland, who was married to his cousin Dylan. Every so often his and Paige's paths crossed at some Westmoreland family function. She was a very beautiful woman, a woman he'd been attracted to from the first. But he hadn't acted on that attraction because the timing hadn't been right. He'd needed to focus on his campaign. But he could now say that not hooking up with Paige 6 years ago was a missed opportunity, one he'd come to regret. If this vacation offered another such opportunity with a beautiful woman, he wouldn't miss it. Paige Novak turned away from the window when she heard the knock on the door. After crossing the floor, she glanced out the peephole and smiled as she opened the door. Chardonnay. Hi, I'm just checking to see if you want to join us for dinner. Paige's smile widened. I'd love to, and I appreciate you and Spencer letting me crash here for a while. This time last week, she had been at the airport in Tokyo when she'd gotten a call from a good friend and neighbor, letting her know the paparazzi were camped outside her door. It hadn't taken Paige long to find out why. The affair between Kemp and Maya had been all over social media. You don't have to thank us, Paige. You were overdue for a visit anyway, Chardonnay said. Paige appreciated that, since she'd been at the vineyards a week already and had worried about overstaying her welcome. I love it here, she said. I was just looking at the view and thinking it's so beautiful and peaceful. Well, you can stay as long as you want. It's nice seeing the guest villas being used. Thanks. And I'd love to join everyone for dinner. She enjoyed Spencer's and Chardonnay's company, as well as that of their 3 children and Chardonnay's grandparents. Great. We'll be eating around 5. Okay. I need to make a few calls. Nadia has been blowing up my phone for some reason, so I need to call her back. After Chardonnay left, Paige tried calling her younger sister, who had called 4 times while Paige had been taking a shower. She wondered what the urgency was. When she got Nadia's voicemail, she figured her sister was in a meeting and left a message for Nadia to call her back. Paige decided to call her sister Jillian to see if perhaps she knew why Nadia had been trying to reach her. Jillian, who was 2 years older, was a neurosurgeon and working at a hospital in Florida. Hi, Jill. Do you know why Nadia has been blowing up my phone? I have no idea, Jill said, sounding rushed. You might want to check with Pam. I'm doing surgery, and we'll call you back later. Okay. Crossing the room, Paige then sat down on the sofa to call her oldest sister Pam, who had married Dylan Westmoreland 13 years ago when Paige had been 15. To Paige, Westmoreland Country, a rural area outside Denver where thousands of acres were owned and occupied by the Westmoreland family, was more home to her than the Novak homestead she and her sisters still owned in Gamble, Wyoming. Paige had considered going home to Westmoreland Country after leaving Tokyo, but had decided against it. Pam had enough on her plate with a second set of triplets due to be born any day to Dylan's brother, Bane, and his wife, Crystal. Pam and Dylan would look after the first set of triplets, who would be barely 6 years old when the new babies were born. Everyone in Westmoreland Country was excited about the births. The last thing Paige wanted was to allow her issues with Kemp to cloud everyone's happiness. She speed-dialed Pam's number, and, not surprisingly, her sister picked up on the first ring. Paige?